Hello, this is Randy Nelson, and this is an edition of Extra Innings. As a retiring superintendent of schools, many things run across my mind when I reflect on 37 years in education. What's happened in those 37 years? What have we been doing in our schools? And even, what's on the horizon? To help facilitate the discussion, I've enlisted the assistance of Mr. Bob Schmidt, past radio talk show host, a parent, and a friend.
Thanks, Randy. You know, the challenges that the kids and the families are dealing with nowadays is a lot different than what I had to deal with my other children as they were getting close to graduation. I've got twins that are graduating this year, and it's been different. I feel bad for the seniors in high school this year, and I feel bad for the underclassmen as well because they don't have the opportunity to kind of learn from the older kids as they're wrapping up the school year. And I'm sure that you're probably seeing that throughout the entire school district and throughout the entire state, throughout the entire country right now as kids are getting ready to ramp up for their next piece of life, but they haven't really had the chance to turn the pages of the last few chapters of this part of their life.
I think this is one of the big challenges that everyone is having, and not just here in our district, but all over the place. You know, and that really is a lot about how do we come to closure? How do we help our students come to closure? How do we get them poised and ready for the coming school year? I mean, there's just so many questions that go alongside of that. But we're looking at so many different perspectives to end the school year. And the graduation piece is one of them. The one that we're taking a look at now, we've already decided that's closing of summer school for June. That was rather easy to do because we were pretty much required to do that based on the last order that Governor Evers made. It doesn't require us to completely close school, but it does require us not to have face-to-face school through June 30th. And so we will continue to support learners in this remote learning environment, which some learners are finding really good, works well for them, and others are thinking, oh boy, that's not going to work well for me. So some of the face-to-face and small group things and the enrichment kinds of opportunities that we've typically had for June are not going to happen this year as a result of summer school. And now we're taking a look at July and getting into the July piece. And we have not made any decisions in July. And July happens to be our most prolific month when it comes to summer school. About 80 different courses we're running in July, many of them good, hands-on, face-to-face kinds of classes. And so we don't know the full disposition of that. We're moving forward and asking people to register as they have always registered for summer school. But it's very possible that summer school in July could be in jeopardy as well. As we move forward, we're waiting for kind of the next shoe to drop on the state level or the county level, or someone to say, okay, here's what's going to work now, here's what we'd allow now, or here's where the numbers are, here's where the metrics are, and so now here's what we can do next. And so coming to closure, I think, has been a challenge for us. We are doing some adjusting with our curriculum as our teachers made this change from the classroom into the online environment. They really had to step back. Our curriculum folks, we took the time to step back and say, okay, probably in this environment, this remote learning environment, the coverage of curriculum is not going to be as broad as it would have been if we would have had you in classroom. So actually what they did is they started working on what we would call power standards. You know, these are the tested standards, the most important standards that we have at the state level in each one of our content areas, each grade level. And so we're going to have a focus on these. And then what we're trying to do is to make sure that we have a good degree of communication in place for the teachers, for the students in the upcoming year, so that they can catch up and they can pick up with some of that content. So there's just a lot of pieces in this closure piece that need to happen.
We see the school year kind of ending now, but the kids that are finishing up the school year, let's say you're finishing up 6th grade now and you're moving into 7th grade, there's probably going to be more of a ramp at the beginning of the school year next year to get the kids back into being in a classroom.
Yeah, I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we said that there wasn't going to be a lag, but we certainly anticipate that the students who were 6th graders this year are going to go on to grade 7 next year. We also know that due to this gap that we have in April and May of this year, there's going to be a little bit of lag of the content, and that's what we're trying to make sure that we establish and that we document and communicate so that our teachers next year have a good chance to move this forward. I think our biggest challenge here along the way as we bring closure to this is there are some students who, despite our best of intentions, have not reconnected with us since March. And so, we're going to have to be talking a little bit there about, well, how do we help you reconnect, and how does June look for you? Because we may have to do some online things and some remote things in June and maybe even July for you to be as ready as other students for next fall.
Thanks, Randy. I'm looking forward to our next Extra Innings conversation. Retiring Superintendent of Schools Randy Nelson's Extra Innings podcast is a podcast for Hire.com production.